Hey guys, so I finally got around to making this video. This has been really requested by some of my friends and some really nice strangers that I've met on Tumblr. So I decided to finally put this video together. And this video is all about fitness and diet and exercise and just being healthy and happy. So I thought I'd start with like a little bit of background information about me and my weight as the years went on. So when I was younger, about like 5 or 6, I was really tall compared to everyone else and really skinny. So I just looked really lanky and long, like a string bean. And that didn't last for very long, but it was like my early elementary school days. My mom used to say I had like a ballerina's body because they're so like just long looking and really thin. So that was me when I was like really young. And then as I hit about 2nd or 3rd grade, I got plump. I was like pretty chubby. I was a butterball. I'm gonna insert some pictures like towards the end of this video. Yeah, it was a really cute time for me. So I went through a chubby stage, and I think why that was is because my body like started going through changes. Like I hit puberty like really early. So my body was going through womanly changes, and as you know, well maybe you don't know, women are supposed to have like more fat in their body to like support a baby like when they're pregnant. So once you go through like puberty and that change, you just kind of get a little bit, not like fat, but like your body just starts kind of getting a little plumper, you know? And I like developed really early. Like I had boobs in like 2nd grade. Like it sucked really bad. I think why that was because my eating habits were really bad. Like, you know, when you're a child, you just want to eat whatever is yummy. So you're like, let's go to McDonald's, let's get ice cream, let's do this. And so obviously I wasn't really watching what I was eating as a kid. So, and I didn't do exercise. My parents signed me up for like soccer, and I would play goalie because I didn't really have to do that much, and I would just pick flowers instead. But I did swimming, and swimming was fun, but then I'd eat a whole bunch afterwards. And I did gymnastics, and I was really bad at gymnastics. I'm just bad at sports naturally. So yeah. And then once I kind of got towards the end of elementary school, like 4th and 5th grade, I started to slim down a little bit. I didn't look so chubby, I was still growing. So around 5th grade was actually the heaviest I had been in my life, because even though I was growing and I looked slimmer, I was still just like heavier. And around that time, I weighed probably around like 150 pounds, which like to some people that's not bad at all. But for me, like I'm not a very tall person. For me, it did not look like a healthy weight. You know, we all have a set body point, and a point where a body just looks healthy and like how it's supposed to look. Like, you know, people have like certain body types that really fit them, and that was not the body type for me. You could tell I had extra weight, and my BMI was awful because, like I said, I'm not tall, and especially back then I wasn't very tall. I was at my heaviest. Not a fun time. Not a fun time for me. My confidence was really low. And so after that, I entered the 6th grade, and in 6th grade was when I really started noticing my weight more, and people would call me fat and bring up my weight a lot, which obviously really hurt my feelings, especially when you're like 11 years old. Those things are really gonna get to you and hurt you. And so I did something that was kind of bad, that I'm not trying to like promote or glamorize at all. I would say I didn't have like an eating disorder. I wasn't anorexic, but I didn't have good eating habits or a good routine for eating. I wouldn't eat breakfast, and I wouldn't eat lunch, and I would come home and like have a soda and like some cereal, and then I'd like barely eat dinner. So I wasn't eating very much at all, which is like really bad. It's horrible for your body. It can really mess with your digestive system and just your body and how it functions, so I definitely don't suggest that. And I lost 30 pounds doing that within the course of 6th grade to like the beginning of 7th grade. So I weighed about 120 pounds, which is like kind of scary that I dropped that weight so fast, but it's because I wasn't eating that very much. And like it wasn't really that I had an eating disorder and I was like, oh my god, I'm fat, so I'm not gonna eat. It was just, I don't know, I just didn't have like a good routine for eating. At school, lunches started really early, so I still wasn't very hungry, and like I wanted to socialize. I'm a really big socializer, so I would just spend a lot of time talking to people and not really eating, and so I just formed really bad habits that way. So that was 6th grade. And then moving on to 7th grade, which has been pretty much my best year in school ever. My grades were really good, even though like 7th grade's like, oh, how hard is school? But like, I had like straight A's, which like doesn't happen very often. Like even in math, I was doing really good, and I'm like awful at math. So I started bringing my own lunch to school, and I ate lunch, and I talked to my friends, and I just had a really good year that year. And then 8th grade was about the same. Like I had a really good year. And then during that summer of 8th grade, we took like a class trip to Washington, D.C., which was really fun. And there, I noticed my eating habits were really bad again because we had buffets like every day. And I have a hygiene issue. I can't eat at buffets. I just get my anxiety goes up because it's like someone else may have touched that. They could have sneezed, they could have pneumonia, this could happen. And it freaks me out. And so I did not eat very much on that trip at all, and we were walking for like 7 hours a day in the heat and humidity. And so around that time I gained some weight, by the way, because I was eating. So around that time I was probably like, I don't know, 130 or so. And then I went back to like 120 in a week span because I wasn't eating and I was walking like crazy, and we swam sometimes, and so I had lost some weight there. But when I got back, I like started eating normally again. It's just I can't deal with buffets. And then this is the time where my anxiety got really bad. For those of you that don't know, most people probably don't, I have really bad social anxiety and anxiety just about life. And right now I'm on propranolol to help me with that, to give my brain some more serotonin. Serotonin is like the happy chemical in your brain that makes everything better. And so I'm taking that now. But going into 9th grade, I didn't really know what it was. I thought it was relatively normal because, you know, a lot of high school kids kind of feel not very confident, and I thought it was just like a normal thing. So I didn't have a lot of girlfriends at this time in 9th grade because a lot of them were going off into their own cliques and being really cliquey and whatever, and I'm not like that. So I hung out with my guy friends, who I'm still friends with today, and I love them dearly, but guys are a little bit, they treated me like one of the guys, and they like to pick on each other and whatever, and they would say things to me that destroyed my self-confidence. You know, they would nitpick every little thing. If I had acne, they'd make fun of that acne. They made fun of my sideburns once, which is like this little patch, and it just got on my nerves, and it just made me so self-conscious. And so I went back to my little defense mechanism I had in 6th grade, and I didn't eat lunch, and I wasn't eating very much at all. And that was a really, really hard time for me. And I don't think I've ever been so low in self-confidence. I couldn't go out to dinner and order my own thing because I just didn't want to talk. Talking to people was one of the hardest things I had to do, and I took drama improv, which did help me a little bit because you're kind of forced to be out of your comfort zone. But for our final, they had like people from the lunches can come in and watch, and I was just a wreck. Like on the inside, I just wanted to run and cry and leave. And I don't think a lot of people know much about anxiety, so I'm just gonna try to give you a description based on how I feel it. So my anxiety can be triggered at any time. I have no idea when it's gonna happen, and sometimes it's not bad. Sometimes, like I, for example, have really shaky hands. I don't know if you can really see it, but I have really shaky hands. So I'll give you an example. For my orientation of senior year, I had to give this lady my car information so I could get a parking pass, and just handing her those papers, my hands were shaking because I just had a moment. And that's what it feels like. Sometimes it's moments of anxiety, and sometimes it feels like depression. Anxiety and depression are pretty closely linked. And so there are times when I just feel very down, and people try to help me. My boyfriend especially doesn't really understand it, and so he tries to be as helpful as he can. And I just tell him, like, it's not because of you, it's just a mode that my body kind of goes into, and I don't really know why. But my pills have been helping me a lot. It's different to be not confident than to have anxiety. Anxiety is just, you're on alert always. You just feel like, it feels like you're kind of walking on hot lava a little bit. You're just like, you know, anything can press that button, and then you get into this flight mode and you just freak out. And it's a totally natural thing. Anxiety is really common, and if you feel like it's kind of dictating your life, like it was for me, go talk to your doctor, and they can either hook you up with a therapist or talk about getting medication. And don't be afraid to do that, because it really does help, and it really will make all the difference in the world. So anyway, sorry for going off on that little tangent, but I just wanted to kind of let you guys know what anxiety feels like for me. And like I said, it was taking over my life and really bringing my self-confidence down. Going on to sophomore year, this is where I started really building up my confidence and kind of finding out who I was. I was friends with a group of girls who I'm still friends with today, and I love them all. But it was my first time since middle school, like early middle school, 6th, 7th grade, that I was friends with a group of like all girls. And like I said, they were really sweet to me. But the thing with girls is that we're just so mean to each other, and we pick each other apart, and we try to act so different around each other, and we'll act like we really like this person, and then once that person's gone, we're like, oh my god, I hate her, she's so rude. And it's like, if she's rude, then why are you friends with her? So that was a little bit bothersome to me about that group. I found myself kind of in the middle of it, and I think that's really what helped me build up my strength to just be confident, because I'm like, okay, you guys are picking on each other for no reason, like, let's just move on and be nice to each other. I was kind of like the voice of reason, and I found myself in the middle of their conflicts a lot, which really, really sucked. And that kind of pushed me away from that whole friend group. And I like them all individually, and then together it's just not a good combination, and some of them aren't really friends anymore. So at the end of sophomore year, I didn't have a big blowout and a big fight with them. I wasn't like, I don't want to be a friend anymore. I just stopped texting them as much. I didn't really ask them to hang out, and I'm still very polite to them. When I saw them in the halls, I would say hi and talk to them, and so we were still friends, but just not as close, so I didn't have to deal with the drama. I'm a really non-dramatic person. Any sort of drama I like to try to avoid. It's just pointless to me, and that was like my first really real experience with girl drama, which isn't even like a big deal. I've heard a lot of like horror stories, but I've never really dealt with drama. I don't like to cause fights and conflicts, and if we're arguing, I'm gonna try to find, you know, a middle ground, or just say, you know, if this isn't working out, then it's not working out, and we can just be friendly and acquaintances. We don't have to be BFFs. So that's when I really started to become a confident person. The next year was junior year, and it was a really, really good year for me. My grades were good, my relationships were good, and I started dating my boyfriend then, and we're still together. And so it was just a really good time. I was so confident and so happy with myself, and you know, I think it happens differently for everyone. You kind of stop caring what people think after a certain point. You're like, you know, I'm gonna do what makes me happy. Like this purple hair, people are probably like that's really weird. Like, why would you dye your hair purple? It's just like, let me be me. Like, I don't care. I wanted to have lavender hair. It's lavender. I'm happy. And you know, if you asked me like, you know, freshman year, if I would ever dye my hair lavender, I would have said no. Actually, probably wouldn't have said anything because I was so anxiety ridden. But now I have the confidence to just do it and not really care what people say, and I've actually got a lot of compliments about that. And then the same as senior year. Good year. Still confident. And once you find your confidence, it's really easy to continue. Of course, you're always gonna have moments where you feel down, or you're like, you look at a girl and you're like, wow, she has the perfect body, perfect this, perfect that. you're always going to feel that way. You can't be confident 100% of the time. Like, it's just not humanly possible. But once you just kind of get content with yourself and who you are and spending time learning to appreciate the type of person that you are, you'll be so much happier, and it's so worth it. So that was just some background about my schooling and my weight then. And also my weight through high school stayed pretty much the same, about 135, until about this year. I started kind of getting into more fitness stuff. So I downloaded this app, which I'm not here to hate on this app. I think it is a good app, but if you're trying to do something for specific weight loss, I don't think it's the best. This app is called MyFitnessPal, and it's a calorie counter. And at the beginning, it asks you what weight you are, how much weight you want to lose, and when you want to lose that weight. And so, of course, we want to lose the weight as fast as possible. And it sets up how many calories you should have a day, how many of those should be proteins, how many of those should be carbs, how many of those should be fats. And so I did that, and I was under eating by a lot. It was having me have 1,200 calories a day, and you need around 2,000 a day. So I was having about like half the calories that I needed in a day, which is really, really bad, and I don't suggest it. And the thing about that was, you know how, like I said, in 6th grade I lost weight by not eating very much? With that, I actually gained weight because I think my body went into like a little bit of a scared mode, and it was like, girl, you're getting a little malnourished. We need to store this fat up for you, you know, so that your body can stay insulated and warm and healthy. So I ended up gaining weight doing that. But I love the app, and I still use it sometimes because it's good to keep track of the fat content that's in your foods and the protein. I think that's important, but I ignore the calorie part. I don't calorie count anymore. I eat however many calories I want. I just make sure I watch the fat content and the carbs and everything. So I think that is a good app for just watching what you're eating, but not really caring about calories. I think that's kind of dumb to be like, I'm only gonna eat this amount of calories. It's just like, eat a normal amount, you know? Eat until you're full, but just eat good things. Put good things in your body. And then I also downloaded the Pump Up app, or like Pump app, I forget what it's called. But I did that, and it has good exercises on it, and I would suggest that. I don't really use it anymore, but I used to, and so that was good. And so then recently, just a few months ago, I decided that I wanted to make a change that was going to last and was going to be worthwhile. So I started just looking up superfoods and foods that are really good to eat, like nuts and leafy greens, and started incorporating those into my diet a lot more. And also incorporating more protein, because protein really helps with building muscle and toning you up. And so I decided to cut out bad foods. Not altogether, but not have them as much. It's really important that you do have cheat days and a cheat meal even, or a cheat snack. Something to give you a little bit of pleasure, because like, I'm gonna be the first to tell you, it is not fun eating healthy all the time. It sucks bad. Because like, especially when you go out to eat with friends and they're like having a big burger and fries, and you're just like, oh my god, and you're there like eating your fish, and you're like, I don't like fish, but I've been eating fish because it's a great source of protein and omega-3. So 80% of weight loss comes from your eating habits. So if you want to lose weight, your eating habits are super, super duper important. And it's not starving yourself, and it's not eating light. You can still eat a lot and a normal amount as long as you eat things that are good for your body. I'll just give you an example of some of my favorite snacks. Nuts are really good. And some people like to stay away from nuts because they look at the fat content and they're like, oh my god, these are so fatty. But that's the good fat that your body needs. You know, like when I said I was under eating, and so my body was trying to store up fat so that I could be insulated, that fat came from like nuts and stuff. So that's the good stuff that's gonna keep your body healthy. Vegetables, I need to work on my vegetable eating. I don't eat a lot of vegetables like on their own. I will eat them with dinner and with whatever, but for snacking, I think vegetables are a good snack, and same with fruit. A lot of people stay away from eating too much because of the carbs. I don't really care about that because I'll talk about my exercise routine, but I need those carbs when I exercise. And some people are also worried about the sugar content in fruit, and I don't care about the sugar too much. So usually when I have a snack, I try to incorporate protein. Either protein or carbs, depending on what I'm doing that day. If it's like a rest day and I'm not working out, I'll just have protein. But if I'm gonna go exercise, I have carbs because carbs give you more energy. So yeah. And so now moving on to my exercise routine. First and foremost, my favorite thing to do is go running. And when I say run, I don't mean I'm like sprinting and going as fast as I can. It's more of a jog. I'm just keeping a steady pace and going for as long as I can. And I try to do at least 3 miles 3 days a week, minimum. There are days when I do more miles and then do it for 3 days a week, or I can do 3 miles but I do it every day during the week. I just try to do at least 3 days of cardio. And this is what has helped me get in shape a lot. Before I didn't have abs, and now I have abs from basically healthy eating and just jogging. I don't do sit-ups, I don't do ab work at all. It's all just from changing my habits and making a lifestyle change. So I'll show you my abs really quick. I don't know if you can really see. I'm like by my closet, so I don't have a lot of space. And I'm gonna insert pictures and stuff at the end too. So that's the main thing I do, is I just jog, and I live really close to a middle school, the middle school that I went to, and so I just jog around the track, and 4 laps around the track is a mile, so I just do however many laps. And before that, for a warm-up, it's important that you warm up or stretch or something before you run or jog. I just walk down, and it's about a 10-minute walk from my house, so I walk down, and then I jog. And then sometimes after I jog, if I'm feeling really motivated or whatever, I do stairs, up and down the stairs for 10 minutes. And if I did a really short jog, then I'll do stairs for 20 minutes. I just try to make sure that it's at least 3 miles altogether, stairs and on the track. And I use just a Nike app that it's like Nike Running, I think is what it's called, and it just counts how many miles based on the steps that you take. So I do that. And then it takes 10 minutes to walk back, and that's my cool down. So I try to do that at least 3 times a week. And then the other days, or even sometimes in the same day, I do squats because everyone wants a nice booty. And so I made a little video for you guys showing you the kind of squats I do. I don't do traditional squats as much. Sometimes I do. I didn't film that today. But sumo squats are my favorite, and sumo pulses, as well as lunges. Lunges are killer for me. They really burn. More than traditional squats have burned for me. So I try to do as many lunges as I can. And I just use a weighted ball, and it's just 6 pounds. I do light weights because I'm not trying to build more booty because I was born with booty. I'm just trying to tone it up. So I just use light weights. You could also just use your body weight, so no weights. But I would also suggest stretching and stuff beforehand because for me, I used to not be able to do lunges because I wouldn't do the right stretches, and so my knees would hurt really bad, and like naturally I have messed up knees. My legs are really messed up for some reason. They just have a lot of stress on them. My joints are really bad. I'm knock-kneed, which means that my knees kind of go, kind of in instead of out. They're really weird. It's just something that I was born with, and so my legs have always been kind of a problem area for me, and I try to tone them up as much as possible. So just make sure that you stretch and that you're doing each exercise properly, and I'm going to show you how I do it, but I would also suggest looking up proper form either on YouTube or like Instagram. Like on Instagram I follow a ton of fitness pages for motivation, and it's also important to stay motivated. Like, you'll never regret doing a workout and eating healthy. That's something that I can assure you. The results are definitely worth it, and just keep going. So worth it. And at the beginning it is tough, so don't be so hard on yourself in the beginning. You don't have to completely do a 180 and go from eating junk food to eating nothing but salads, and mix it up. Don't just eat salads. There's so many people that are like, oh, I'm just gonna eat a salad for the rest of my life. Like, no, have protein. eat some bread, you know, live your life, still have fun. I don't eat perfect all the time. I just definitely try to mix in healthier foods as much as I can. And that's all you really can do. So yeah, motivation was hard for me at the beginning, but running especially, you get a runner's high. And so when you're running, you kind of feel like I'm gonna die and I hate this. But when you're done, you feel so good and you feel like you can do 5 more miles. It's amazing. So yeah, so I think that pretty much wraps up this video. So this is just what I do fitness-wise, diet-wise. Oh, also I want to add, drink lots of water. Water is so important. It helps you flush out the fat, and it's the best. Your body is made of water. You need as much water. And I also do detox water. If I feel like I'm gonna be eating unhealthy or something, like at dinner, I just order some water with a lemon wedge. And what that does is that removes like the toxins that have been stored up in your body and make you look bloated and nasty. So detox water is good too, but don't have too much. One time I had like 4 things of detox water, like big things, and I threw up because it's just like getting rid of too much. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope this helped you out. If you need any more advice or anything, leave it in the comments and I'll be sure to respond to you and make things a little bit easier for you, because I want you guys to all be healthy and happy like I am, because along with healthiness becomes more energy and more happiness and more fun time. So why not make a change and just try to get in shape and do what makes you happy. So thank you so much for watching. I love you all so much. Have a really great day. Hey guys, now it's on to fitness. So this is the weighted ball I use. It's just 6 pounds. The first exercise I'm doing is sumo squats, and it looks like you're a birdie laying an egg, so just keep doing that. Now I'm just doing sumo pulses, so it's the same wide stance, but now you're just pulsing up and down instead of going up and squeezing your bum. Now I'm just gonna do some lunges. It's hard to find your balance, but make sure that your knee does not go over your toes. You can also hold the ball out in front of you if you want to tone your arms, but I already have man arms, so I don't really do that too much. Now you're gonna be all done and tired, but don't forget to take your protein. Protein is what's really gonna help you build that muscle. Here I was about age 7, the beginning of my chubby stage. Here I'm 9, and this was well into my chubby stage. This was when I started slimming down. This is about 2012. But I chunked up again when I went on vacation in California, and that's Nick Varios. He's a famous designer, and I love him. He's really sweet. And here was just last month. And this was just a few weeks ago while I was on vacation in California. And right here is about a month and a half's difference. So thank you so much for watching. I love you. Mwah!